Opinions expressed on this show do not reflect the views and opinions of our advertisers and management of Pacific Telestations Incorporated. You're watching Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Tonight, I have the new director of GHURA. Actually, not new to GHURA. You've kind of grown up in GHURA, but now you stepped into the helm as being the head of GHURA as the director. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you.
It's great to see you there, actually, you know, because you come with a lot of knowledge. And I remember when I had oversight of GHURA, my chief of staff constantly communicated with you, Mike Paris, and actually even Daryl Taggarty was communicating with you, and a guy that knows everything there is to know about GHURA and federal regulations is the guy right here. No better guy to have for that position is Mike Duenas.
Part of my success is recognizing what I don't know and trying not to step into those areas.
And I've had somebody else do that, right? Yes. There we go. Mike, congratulations again. Mike, let's talk about GHURA. You know, when we sat down and you know, very simple, your email was very, very simple to me. It says, you know, Jess, why don't we talk about GHURA more than being just public housing and Section 8? And I said, you know, you're absolutely right, because when people think of GHURA, they think of the enormous lines and the waiting lists and it taking forever to get on and things like that. But you're more than that. Aside from that, you are more than that as well.
Yes. Well, let's just acknowledge what GHURA is for the public. Okay. Basically, we assist over 3,100 families, and that translates into 13,000 individuals. Mm-hmm. So yes, it's right that when people think of GHURA, that's what they think of. Mm-hmm, I mean, that's what, approaching 9% of our population. Sure. So it's an important role. Mm-hmm. But we also do a lot of other things. Mm-hmm. We have grants that we receive from HUD under the Community Planning and Development side of HUD that enable us to build a number of facilities throughout the island over the years. Sure. Some of the more visible facilities that have been built include the swimming pool in Dededo, the skate park in Dededo. Mm-hmm. We built various senior citizen centers, about 12. People don't know it, but we also built Head Start classrooms. And we built several classrooms for special ed students in 2 of the middle schools, in Jose Rios and Antolon Middle School. Mm-hmm. We've also been involved in building a number of other recreational facilities. Mm-hmm. I mentioned the skate park, but we are also involved in renovating a lot of, or we're looking at renovating a lot of the recreational facilities around the island. Mm-hmm. We're also involved in things like the Resource Center for DYA. We've built a resource center for them in Agate and one in Dededo. And we're struggling with them. We're trying to find some property on which we can build a resource center for the central villages.
Now, Mike, let me ask you this. Now, in building all this, you know, some folks will say, well, see what you're doing. I mean, you know, it's instead of trying to house people, you know, we have all these facilities that you're building out. Why don't you save that money and build us some homes? These come from different grants, right? That are wanting to do for specific things, right?
That's correct. Yeah. Building homes is actually not an easy undertaking. When we're going to build a house, what we're looking at basically is if it's for rent, how are we going to ensure that the units can generate enough income to make sure that the ordinary maintenance is taken care of? Because like anything else, a house is going to fall apart over the years as it's used. So we look at the financial feasibility of that kind of an investment.
Now, one of the things, Mike, I mean, you were there. You weren't director at the time yet, but I had oversight of GHURA at the time when, of course, the first military buildup was heard of and all that. And one of the concerns we had basically back then was how would GHURA how would they be able to manage public housing, Section 8 on that, when if the military, when the number was the 8,000, 10,000
Right.
and all that were to come in here, because most residents, most homeowners would rather rent to the military. They get the higher amount and all that. And so one of the main things that we were concerned about is how can we manage that? How can we supplement or continue to be able to supplement the housing shortage for the people who can't afford it, or on you know, government subsidy?
Well, our first concern was the projected increase in population. We couldn't really get a good handle on how much migration would come to Guam as a result of the military buildup.
Sure.
We get good numbers in terms of the employees, the workforce that would there to construct the facilities. But actually trying to get a handle on how many individuals would be coming to fill the jobs was a number that really we couldn't get a good estimate on. And so we kind of looked at, well, this is, we contracted out a housing study to actually try and quantify that number. And based on everything, the three things we knew, or the things we didn't know, is just as a result of natural increase and family formation, we were looking at about 3,000 homes during that period. If the military buildup didn't happen, we were looking at having to ways to expand the housing inventory to accommodate 3,000 new families. In terms of the buildup itself and the military, well, let's look at the military market. To what extent would the military personnel be competing with civilians for housing? Our study indicated that over the years, we were looking at an average of maybe 20% of active duty personnel would be renting out in the civilian market, and most of them would be a mix. It would be single individuals and some families, with children, but the majority of the military families we expected to be housed on military housing.
On the basis,
yeah. At the same time that debate was going on about the buildup, the military was in the process of rebuilding their base housing, and that pushed a number of families out into the civilian community. And that's where people started saying, hey, this is going to be a lucrative market. But it's not really as easy a market.
It was kind of a false thing at the time. It lasted for a little bit, but it was a temporary
right?
Yeah.
Once the new housing units were completed, they were directing their families
they went
into
back on
base.
base. Mike, hold on to that thought. We're going to go to a break and come right back, okay? Be right back.